Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video, I will discuss how these guys really think about us in general, setting aside the fake good feeling and caring for everybody else, being tolerant and loving one another, be kind. And I'm going to use it by providing you with about 6 articles, and these articles have to do with journalists. And these journalists were arrested, or some of them died, and we'll see how differently the media reports each person's unfortunate situation. A Ukrainian journalist, a woman, was captured by the Russians in Donetsk People Republic, if I remember correctly. We have an article on that one, actually 2 of them. And according to the media, she was killed, or she died in custody, in the Russian custody. And obviously that's concerning and should not happen and all this. But then I'm going to have another example of another journalist who was arrested in Israel, for instance, and how media looks at it. And then we have 2 journalists from Radio Free Europe who were shot at by the evil Russians, obviously, in Ukraine, and how they look at it. And then I will end up comparing and contrasting with Gonzalo Lira's situation, which has ended. Do you remember Gonzalo Lira? Well, do you remember how he died and where? At the hand of whom? Well, here it was not reported. It was reported mildly, and you couldn't find, the big guys, New York Times, Washington Post, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, reporting on that. Why? He was a journalist, but he was not promoting their garbage. So let's start with the first topic, with the Ukrainian journalist. And here, this article coming from Ukrainska Pravda. Death of journalist Viktoriia Roshchyna. Case reclassified as war crime combined with premeditated murder. Now, I think that no journalist should perish, because they bring information and they report to us what's going on in different locations. So for me, if a journalist is shot at, or it's killed, or incarcerated and then killed, all these constitute, I would say, a war crime, or at least a murder, and the perpetrators must be punished. So, but every journalist is a journalist. Not the Russian journalists are not journalists, but the American journalists are journalists. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. All right, so here is the unfortunate person. The criminal case opened over the disappearance of Ukrainian freelance writer Viktoriia Roshchyna has been reclassified as a war crime combined with premeditated murder. On October 10th, the media published information about the death of Ukrainian journalist who was illegally detained by the Russian Federation. Well, what if they said she was a spy? Or let's say she was spying for the Americans, let's say. In this regard, the criminal proceedings initiated over this disappearance under Part Papi Pap with concerns violation of the laws and customs of war, combined with premeditated murder. All right. So that's what they claim about this person. In March 2022, she was captured by the Russians and held for 10 days in Berdyansk, Donetsk Oblast. In 2022, she wrote a series of articles for Ukrainska Pravda from the temporary occupied territories, that is, from the Russian part. In particular, she wrote about the life of the occupied Crimea during the war and how a sham referendum. Alright, she left Ukraine for Poland in 2023, 25th of July, to travel to the occupied territory. She planned to reach the occupied part of Ukraine east via Russia in 3 days. She disappeared on August 3rd, 2023 in the Russian occupied territory, from where she was reporting. In May 2024, Russia admitted for the first time it had detained her. The Russian Ministry of Defense sent a letter of confirmation to her father. This is according to Ukrainska Pravda here. On October 10th, Pedro Yatsenko, the head of the press service of the coordination headquarters of the treatment of prisoners of war, said during the 24/7 National Joint Newscast that Viktoriia Roshchyna had died in Russian custody. Defense intelligence of Ukraine said that she was to be brought back to Ukraine in the near future. All right, so it says here that they received confirmation she died. Sorry to hear that. Now, let's go to the next article. And here we have it. This is from my friends from Russia Today. October 10th, Israel arrests U.S. journalist over Iranian attack report. Jeremy Loffredo has been charged with, and I'm quoting, aiding the enemy. American journalist Jeremy Loffredo has been arrested by Israel in the West Bank and reportedly charged with aiding the enemy during wartime for his reporting on the recent Iranian bombardment, according to his employees in the gray zone. The gray zone. Now, what about this one? Could she classified? I'm not trying to defend anybody. I'm asking the same question I would ask here. Okay, if these guys claim that, could the other guys claim that for her? I don't know why she died. Was she sick? Was she abused? I don't know. All right. And it says, I realize many Americans have a deep, overreaching, unyielding love for the foreign country Israel. But Jeremy Loffredo is an American and journalist, a very good one, being imprisoned with no trial by Israel for his reporting. Maybe he deserves some consideration too. End quote, said the Brazilian-based journalist Glenn Greenwald, who I like very much, highlighting Loffredo's case on Thursday. So some of Loffredo's works for US-based outlet The Gray Zone, according to its editor Max Blumenthal. I'm familiar with him too. The journalist's phone was confiscated after he was arrested by the Israeli military. Blumenthal's colleague Wyatt Reed said Loffredo had been beaten, and I'm quoting, beaten, blindfolded, and taken to an Israeli military base, according to this guy right here. Israeli outlet Inyet reported that Loffredo had been charged with, and I'm quoting, aiding the enemy during wartime and providing information to the enemy. And I'm quoting, Israel is detaining and prosecuting an American journalist for doing journalism. Will his media colleagues defend him? And this is Aaron Mate, asked for X Gray Zone. In his last video reported from Israel, Loffredo shared footage recorded by Israelis as well as Arab Bedouin, allegedly showing the impact of the least 10 Iranian missile strikes at the Nevatim airbase in Negev. Some of Bedouin showed the American reporter a piece of missile debris that had not been removed by the Israeli military. And again, he did here. Loffredo then drove to Tel Aviv and tracked down where an Iranian missile struck less than 1,000 feet, 300 meters from the headquarters of Mossad. I covered that one. The Israeli intelligence agency located in the residential district. His X profile has since been locked. Freedom, right? Right. So that's what it is. And we got Evan Gerskovich. Okay. He was arrested and charged with espionage in Russia. The U.S. government immediately declared him wrongfully detained. So different behavior coming from the president. Maybe the Americans will call the Jewish state and he's going to be released in no time. Maybe he's on his way back home. The State Department and the U.S. Embassy in Israel have yet to comment on the arrest of Loffredo. All right, next one. Arrest of U.S. journalist raises press freedom concerns in Israel. This is according to BostonTimes.org. I tried to access this and I'll come back later, okay? When is going to come? Nothing is going to come, I tell you that. All right, we're going to go to my friends, actually, to the jewishpress.com. Which works just fine. Foreign journalist arrested in Israel for espionage suspicion. Links to Iran-funded media outlet. Got it? Got it. Israel placed under house arrest a U.S. journalist with ties to an Iranian-funded website over a video he posted detailing where Iranian missiles landed in Israel. I thought there were not. The reporter Jeremy Loffredo describes himself on social media as a New York-based independent investigative journalist. He was arrested in the Palestinian Authority Arab village of Burin with 4 members of Looking the Occupation in the Eye, an anarchist group opposed to Israel's presence in Judea and Samaria. It is believed that they were trying to bypass an army believed, I like what that is, checkpoint to enter the area A of Samaria. Soldiers initially perceived Loffredo's behavior as a typical case of foreign anarchist interference, but the matter escalated when authorities discovered his reports on the Gray Zone, a left-wing website funded by Iran. You got it? So Gray Zone is funded by Iran. I found something today, okay? Mate. All right. The site has been accused of spreading disinformation and producing pro-Iranian propaganda. Right? And he tells us the same thing as this guy said with this. Now, let's see if this guy's opened. Connection timed out. It didn't work. So the Boston shit, right, did not work. Why? So this one did not work. It's 13 hours ago. And now let's go to these baboons, which again, I'm sorry for them. Ukraine Forum. Radio Free Europe journalists come under Russian fire near Bakhmut. For me, the Voice of America and Radio Free Europe, these are owned by governmental institutions or funded by governmental institutions. Go in their website and Wikipedia. When I was in the communist time, Romania, we believed in free radio, free Europe, and the Vocea Americii, the Voice of America. And after the revolution, I had the access to find out to information that actually the U.S. State Department and CIA was funding some of this. But hey, they were helping us. They were over there like a banker. The bankers are there to help you. The banks are helping you with interest. So again, these guys got under that. So again, it's a bad thing that these guys came under fire. Now let's go and discuss this guy's misfortune. Gonzalo Lira. Remember this guy? The guy that the media did not cover, the media did not talk about, unless they were talking about being him a crazy. Now let me tell you what happened with this guy. Gonzalo Lira had a YouTube channel, and not only. And I can't remember how many subscribers he had, but he was featured by some of my friends, if you remember, many times. And he was a smart guy and a courageous guy. But I think he, how should I put it nicely? How should I put it bluntly? I will be straight. I think, I don't know his situation, but from outside, which could be very wrong, I think he was a little bit not attached to how bad we, the human beings, could be. Do you understand? I don't want to say he was a naive or something like that. No. But we have to understand that these guys, if they want to cross from here to there, they will cross over countries, millions of people, without giving a shit. So I think he believed too much in the human race. So he lived in Kharkiv, if I remember correctly, Kharkov area. He was reporting from the lion's den, from Ukraine. And he was, discussing things that should be discussed. He was arrested one time by the Ukrainian authorities. I would say, anyway, he was warned at that time, and then he was allowed again to function. He functioned in the same way, and then again he was arrested and a little bit beaten over there, and then released. And he was released for court proceedings, supposedly. He was under microscope. He made a video at that time that I covered, and I thought it was not good. I have to be nice. Not good. Where he said that I'm trying to go and cross so leave Ukraine. Now, it was a little bit too late, I think. Leave Ukraine, go to Hungary, call you from Hungary, something like this. I mean, do you say that? I tell you how I would have done it if I got in that situation. Supposedly he tried to flee Ukraine, he got captured, imprisoned, and after a month, I think a month and a half or something like this, he just died in prison in Ukraine. And the media here was beep. He was a Chilean American citizen. Beep. All right? That's what those guys did to him. The media did not give a shit. Now, I tell you how I would have done it. Let's say I was under the microscope at that point. I would not make a video before I'm trying to leave the country. I make the video, right? I upload it wherever I have it. And I say, if you don't hear from me, that means they got me. But I'm not going to post it. I'm going to wait over there for someone else to post it in case I'm, okay? And then I will try to escape to freedom and to the civilized world. And then when I get over there, I make videos. Or if I don't make it, someone who I will entrust, or someone's, more than one, I would say, if that happened in, you don't show up in 24 hours, don't contact you, nothing, then you post that video on that. That is, I think, how he should have done it. But I think he exposed himself living in Kharkiv for so long and telling the truth. No, what did you expect? These guys are thugs for the national security. And he was a journalist. The other guys are journalists as well. What's going on? I just wanted to point out to you how the gross double standard in who we're supposed to love and who, like Gerskovich, and who we're supposed to hate or be indifferent of people's suffering. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.